Hello, everyone. We are at India Energy Week 2026 in Goa, where leaders from across the world and India have converged to decide India's energy future. And to talk about it a little, we have with us Mr. Vineet Mittal, Chairman, Avaada Group. Thank you, Vineet, for joining us. Vineet, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me.
So my first question to you, and it has been a recurring theme here at India Energy Week, that renewables are being discussed as the backbone of India's energy system, not just as a capacity addition. So, from your perspective, what has fundamentally changed in how renewable projects are now being planned and executed?
So, so you rightly said that renewable energy is now the mainstream and it's becoming the backbone of energy grid of India. And what is most important for India's energy landscape is availability and affordability.
Right.
And renewable energy is meeting both those target and the biggest change happened in 2014 when government came out with the policy
Mm,
that we will do 100 gigawatt by 2022.
right.
And then in the COPs at Glasgow, PM himself announced Panchamrit
Right.
and target for 500 gigawatt target. So from 100 to
To 500 plus
500
5x jump.
is a
Yeah.
5x jump in the 8 years during the COVID peak he announced.
Mm,
And that kind of reset this sector fully. And in addition to that, government came out with the policy that we don't want to be an importing nation alone. We want to be Atmanirbhar and we want to produce whatever we are consuming.
mm,
We want to produce locally. So the result of that is that till 2015 we had 5 gigawatt of solar.
mm,
To now we are adding 5 gigawatt of solar every month and annually almost 50 to 60 gigawatt
mm,
of new capacity is coming up.
mm,
In addition to that, wind is getting added. Now the battery is pumped storage. So the entire energy transition per se has become the energy reliability and energy scalability solution for the country.
mm.
And government is encouraging active participation by developers into all the verticals, and they are coming out with the long term consistent policy
Mm.
which is keeping investors also interested in this sector.
Mm, right. And you rightly pointed, touched upon a couple of things, including the affordability, which the Prime Minister also alluded to yesterday. And you talked about the run rate is phenomenal of addition of capacity. We'll come to those a little later. So, right, I want to ask you that India is rapidly moving from standalone, solar, and as you alluded also, and wind to hybrid and round the clock renewable power. So, what is the single hardest execution challenge, if I may ask you, in making this project work? Land, grid, or storage, or contracting?
So the challenge with all the infrastructure projects is largely to do with the land.
Right.
That when you are doing thousands of megawatt of project, you need a lot of wasteland or desert land to do these large project. So that is being the single most challenge in addition to the land, making sure that the grid reaches out to that land where
Correct.
the land
Yeah.
is available. The grid should reach. So government of India came out with interstate transmission system and green corridor policy,
Mhm.
and under that policy they declared several areas of the country as renewable energy zone,
Mm.
where land is available, and there is a lot of wasteland or barren land in that area. The generation is good, and they have planned to bring the transmission line there.
Right.
So if you look at few locations of Rajasthan, few locations of MP, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Karnataka, they converted them into RE zone, and they set up as a part of national grid
Right.
connectivity and substation up to that place. And the role of developer is to build a large solar and wind project
Mm.
and bring the grid up to the substation set up by the government.
Mm.
So that model has worked very well in the last 4 5 years. There are challenges also, that now the demand is increasing.
Mm,
So they need to move from high voltage AC to ultra high voltage AC or HVDC,
mm,
and the costs of those are higher. So we as an industry have been suggesting government that go for more ultra high voltage AC than HVDC, because in HVDC we don't produce most of the component locally and we have to import, whereas in ultra high voltage AC we are producing all the components locally.
mm,
So government is planning to come out for tender for that. But usually when you do large transmission line, there comes the challenge of right of way,
mm,
and most of the government project gets delayed by 6 to 12 months because of the right of way.
mm,
So many times the your solar or wind project will be ready and the substation would be delayed.
mm.
That's another big challenge in this sector.
Right. Okay. So you talked about tenders that government is coming up with a lot of tenders for these projects. So, but, but tenders are increasingly demand firm and dispatchable power. How does this shift change the project risk, return on capital deployed for energy developers like you?
See, this is in some ways a complex project. When it is one technology, it is relatively easier.
Right.
When it was pure play solar, there were additional competition to this sector. Now,
Mm,
as the complexity of projects is increasing, what we are seeing is that not every developer is able to do solar, wind storage or pumped storage
mm,
properly and able to schedule and dispatch as per the commitment in the tenders. So that's a good initiative from the government perspective. It gives large developers enough opportunity to solve for the energy problem,
mm.
because many of the states does not even have the day power. It's they need power in the evening
Correct.
where they have an acute shortage,
Right.
and that is why you have seen that solar plus storage tenders come. Sometimes some states wind is complementary to solar,
Mm,
so there the more solar and wind projects are coming. Many projects are now coming with around the clock firm and dispatchable power, and that's technically possible to do. We ourselves are setting up a very large project in Rajasthan
okay.
where we are using 2500 megawatt hour of battery, and it will be operational sometime by the middle of next year once the substation is ready. So you are seeing more and more developers are getting equipped to deliver such large complex project, which is more suitable for some grid.
Mm,
Some states decide that they will buy power from different sources and they
right.
will schedule and dispatch, because they have different sources, so they anyway can schedule and dispatch far better than the developers can do.
Mm,
But there are all kind of model available in the country right
mm,
now.
right. So when we're speaking about renewables, so mostly I see that these names like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Andhra, they come up. But there are many more states also where this, we need to reach with renewable. Do you have any vision of how in these areas also we can, renewables can reach or can be generated?
So if you look at for very large project, the best locations are probably Rajasthan, Gujarat,
Right.
Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra,
Mm.
Karnataka, Tamil Nadu,
All
and
windy state and sunny
sun
states.
states,
Yeah.
and where the land is available.
Right.
See, if you look at UP doesn't have that much of land
Vacant land.
availability,
Yeah.
and it most no developer wants to do a project in a fertile land.
Mm.
So UP, Bihar, from that perspective, where there is a lot of fertile land and such large parcels are not available, there you can't do the project, and even the radiation is very low
Mm.
in some of these states, and same is true for some of the northeastern state, and that is why ISTS works perfectly. But the biggest advantage of solar plus storage is that it could be distributed.
Right.
So many states are planning to bring to their substation itself the storage capacity so that they can provide reliable on demand power to their consumer. And the other model is the PM-Kusum, where we are already seeing like Maharashtra is implementing close to 16,000 megawatt hour of PM-Kusum,
Mm,
where they are shifting their night load into the day load,
mm,
and it's fairly distributed.
right.
So it is not going into the large grid. The typical project size is 5 to 10 megawatt.
Mm,
It is getting done across, like I'm doing 200 sites in Maharashtra. There are other players who are doing another 1,000 sites. So it's
right.
very, very distributed, which is also happening. And I think PM Kusum is the right way where you are able to move the farmer's load in the day,
Mm,
and as well as it's distributed, so
in the
excess
night
power
also.
goes into the grid, and the grid doesn't have to crisscross the power. So
Mm,
that model is developing across the country. Even UP is doing very well, MP is doing very well, Rajasthan is doing well. You name the state, almost every state has some good program happening on PM Kusum.
mm, okay. So you talked about storage, and I would want to stay with that for a while, and because that has been featuring in the discussions here, for the last 2 days. So how do you see the long-term role split between hydro storage, battery energy storage, in India's grid?
See, India needs all form of energy,
Mm,
and all form of storage is very critical after the intermittent source of solar and wind has become mainstream.
correct.
And the only way to tackle that is building a long duration energy storage, because many states their peaking hour is changing from 6 to 10 p.m. to almost 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning also.
Mm,
So in those states, they need power to solve this peaking power demand,
mm,
and pumped storage is the perfect solution for
correct.
that. And for short term duration storage, whether 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or 4 hour, battery is the perfect match.
Mm,
So states are looking at, based on their demand pattern, they are coming out with the tenders, whether they need pumped storage or they need battery storage.
mm. Okay. So this, again, holding back to storage, uh, what's affecting? It's the technology cost, policy clarity, or is it anything else which is holding back the battery storage thing? Because we've been hearing about it for long time, but honestly, not much which is scalable has come out.
So actually, if you look at typically from government planning to execution, any typical project will take 3 to 4 years,
Mm,
because once the government announces the policy to bring out the tender and then developers to execute it, it's a time-consuming
right.
process.
Mm,
So if you look at, even I was giving an example that I'm doing a
right.
2500
Mm,
megawatt hour
mm,
project. Our second letter of award which we have got, which will another 2500 megawatt hour project, and there are several developers who are doing it.
mm,
So in a year from now, you will hear so many projects getting operationalized
mm.
on the battery side, that you won't feel that
Complain
it's
about it.
only talked about and it's not executed on ground. But when it comes to the pumped storage, the challenge is that usually you are doing into the terrain near the water,
Right.
where there is a hilly terrain, and you can create the two level to transfer the water between them. And many of these areas fall where there are trees,
Right.
and when there are trees, there is a very
Ecological.
stringent environment clearance procedure which kicks in,
Mm,
and then you have to find an alternative location
mm,
to transplant those trees.
correct.
So the whole process, approval, permitting, and Indian government are usually very sensitive about
Mm,
the plantation trees. So the process is there because it needs to be there, and that but it delays the project by year or two.
mm,
So government is aware of this. They can simplify as much as they can,
mm.
but at the end of the day, you have to solve for this problem.
Right. And probably they're right with the kind of climate change issues we are facing. I mean, ecological issues need to be looked at before taking
So
any.
and that's the right strategy. In
Right.
industries also with the government, we all want to follow the regulation to the T,
Mm,
and that is why pumped storage will take more time to come up. But
mm,
you will see a lot of storage projects coming up in the next 2 years,
mm. Probably they're all building up, and in one burst, we'll see them all fructify
because
together.
it Typically, it also is linked to the ISTS grid getting ready.
Mm,
So there is a typical delay of 6 to 12 months on the ISTS network. And then once they are operational. They will provide the peaking power and some pair even the grid shaping features there.
right. Okay. So, talking about another theme that I've been hearing here at India Energy Week is capital discipline. And what is the biggest risk for large renewable players today? Again, grid or counterparty risk or policy uncertainty, which is the one which keeps you at your toes all the time?
So if you look at what has happened very well for India is that the biggest risk used to be on the off-takers risk. And that time what we were all trying to do is select like you will file for the tender of juvenile, you will not file for many other state. Then central government came out with this concept of SECI, which is a central owned entity which brings out the tender and provides the payment security mechanism. Then they brought in NTPC, NHPC, which are all AAA rated company.
Right.
So the credit risk associated with the off-taker reduced considerably, doesn't keep you awake at night. The issue is always investor wants long-term policy consistency.
Mm,
We want the vision to be implemented, like when government has done any tender, then it to be logically concluded with letter of award and then power purchase agreement,
mm,
and that should happen in the timely fashion, because once you raise the capital your meter kicks in,
right.
and you want to make sure that your capital is not sitting in the bank account but it's used to build the project for which you have raised the capital.
Mm,
So if you have a proven track record, there are many investor globally who are willing to come
mm,
to India, and almost every top global investor is in India now.
mm. Okay. All right. Final question, Vinit. So, say 5 years from now we meet at some this kind of a forum again, and if you have to tell me that the India's renewable energy transition has truly succeeded, what would those stories be? What would those parameters be?
I would feel really proud if we achieve 500 gigawatt by
Right,
2030.
that's ambitious plan though.
That's very ambitious
Yeah,
and very difficult plan. If
correct.
government achieves it, it will be effort worth it.
Right.
I would be very happy to see few green ammonia, few green methanol plants operational and executed and supplying it to hard to abate sector and used for mobility. I would probably see that from an intermittent power, now the green power is become reliable
Right.
around the clock,
Mm,
and it's solving for energy crisis in the data center
mm.
and hyperscaler business as well.
Right. No, true. I mean, renewable will play a very important role in terms of energy demand going forward. And as you said, from intermittent to regular supply, that would be the key. Vinny, thank you for joining us. It was pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you for it was great meeting you and interacting with
Thank
you.
you.